Welcome everyone to a very, very special episode. Well, it's not really an episode, it's a segment. We're following the same pattern as we did with Chelsea, but we're doing this before one of the biggest games of the season. It's Arsenal versus Manchester United. And never in the recent history, in the last 10 years, has this game been more important. We're talking about the highs of Vieira versus Roy Keane. We're talking the legends of Fergie versus Arsene Wenger. To now, the new age, the Arteta versus Eric Ten Hag. Whoever thought that would come up? Everyone wrote us off. Everyone wrote off Manchester United. Everyone wrote off Arsenal. These guys are dead. They're dead giants, right? The game is over. It's the years of Liverpool versus Man City. That is the rivalry. But we're here to tell you, no, this game is back. It is the biggest game in the league, and it always will be the biggest game in the league. The history, the passion, everything still exists. And for this season, it matters more than any other season because it is the season-defining game for both teams. It is the title charge for Arsenal. It is the title conversation for Manchester United, mind you. But I wouldn't be here breaking this down alone. As always, I have my co-host with me, Hazza. How you doing, mate? Are you gassed for this weekend?
Whoa. I have to say, thanks for that introduction, Zed. Previous years, I've been really worried and nervous at this point. But I have to say, really confident, but we'll get into that a bit later.
Yeah, thanks, mate. And as always, we've got a special guest. Last year we had Athar. This year we upgraded. We got Nidar, right? His older brother. Much more passionate and much more relevant answers rather than just being nice, right? So Nidar, my friend, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's be honest, less than just 24 hours ago, and then
Yes.
WhatsApp groups are going to be going off, and you guys are going to be in hiding.
We don't hide, Nidar. We don't hide. That's one thing. One thing about us, we don't hide. You'll find that.
We
You
don't
know,
hide.
your brother does though. Yeah, your bro does. He hides, man.
Unless you Google, right, you hide.
Yeah. Some of them do hide. We don't hide.
Well, thanks, boys. Let's get into it. But before we go into the game itself, Nida, I wanted to get your opinion. We had Rahil on early in the week in episode 4 of the season talking
Yeah.
about Manchester United. I want to get your opinion. How does it feel to have Eric Ten Hag in charge after Oli Ball for 3 years, then Ralf Ragnick, and the mess that's been from Louis van Gaal, Jose, all of that accumulating into now Eric Ten Hag coming in? Who had a rough start? What are you thinking now?
Yeah, so let's be honest. Since Fergie left, it's all gone downhill. Honest truth is, now I know how Arsenal fans have felt for the last 20 years.
I like that.
But the thing is, look, we had our ups and downs for each manager. But I apart from Ralf Ragnick and Louis van Gaal, I can't blame Mourinho and I can't blame Oli because as a manager, Mourinho is a good manager, and Oli is a man manager rather than like tactical, right? But the thing is, our club's hierarchy and structure, that's where our biggest problems are. And so they can't implement what they want. And so if you look at with Ten Hag now, since he's come in, he's taken a lot more hold of it. So he's not only involved in just dealing with the team, he's involved in with transfers, he's involved in with members of staff, in the catering staff, everything. So he's gone back to the same structure Fergie had, where he just has control. He'll know if you've hit the clubs. He'll know, like what time you're hitting the bed, all of that stuff. And so it's great to see as a United fan that we're going back to some of our roots. I'm glad some of the players are getting put to their paces and getting told, listen, show up late. You know what, you're getting cut. I make the rules, and that's it. And when you got managers like Oli, who's the nicest guy ever, just smiles at you, and it's a bit like Harry when he's coaching, just smiles, lets you go, and you go.
Get out of town. I just want to pick your brains on that one, Dado, because you know what, I think you hit a good point about the man management side of things and the sort of rules now having to actually be serious. Ronaldo was almost like your turning point, wasn't it? We would say the equivalent of Aubameyang. A lot of the sort of external pundits now talk about the turning corner for Arteta being getting rid of Aubameyang. What's your view on that, and do you think that you are better for it?
Oh yeah, 100%. So
because you loved Ronaldo, didn't you?
yeah, Ronaldo at United is legend. He's part of the furniture. Problem with Ronaldo is that because he's been a winner for so long, mentally he couldn't encompass the fact that his body can't produce what he used to do, right? Even though he did it last year, and so you expect him to reproduce this year, he just didn't achieve it. Now, my issue with him was it was about responsibility and understanding you're a senior player and being a leader. So look, new managers come in. Ronaldo's done a few things, like obviously left games part way through. I think the first one there was an issue like he was going back home to see his daughter and stuff, so that's acceptable, right? But the other ones, I think, where he's just left partway through the game or at the end of with like 5 minutes to go, stuff like that. You can't be a senior player and project that kind of
Example,
rudeness.
yeah.
Example, right? Because your younger generation is going to look at that now. These younger generation of players are snowflakes. That's the reality of it. You touch them, they go flying. They expect half £1 million in wages a week, and they won't train or they don't. They will never be at the same level as Ronaldo or players that work so hard for their craft, right? And so when Ronaldo was that beaming light where this is what you did and this is what you followed to be a great player, over the last 6 months he's not been doing that. And part of the reason I think is down to like I said, his mentality. He still wants to be a winner, but his body can't cope with it. And secondly, I think possibly with the whole thing with the birth of his child and the passing, it's sad to hear, but it can affect someone, right? And I don't think he ever really came back 100%. And so I think he wants to be family oriented now, and that's why he's gone off to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but
you're
I'm
right.
going to ask you a question there, Nidas. Was it a good move for Manchester United to bring him back in the first place?
No. The reality was it was shotgun decision. No one was here. City went and got our biggest legend, and then he's gonna slap us around.
That's probably the only thing we're going to agree on today, Nidar.
It's imagine when you guys gave us Van Persie, and then he won his own.
It wasn't quite like that, was it? No.
No.
Listen, he spent 20 years at your club. Yeah, won nothing. Came to us one season. Trophy.
He smashed
Shots
it.
already been fired, mate.
He's got the gun out. He's got the gun out.
Shots today. But fair enough. I think I agree with you. It was a wrong move because of where Manchester United were as a club that needed to grow to bring in one who was towards the end of his career as great as he has ever been, but he wasn't. He didn't just have the legs. I completely agree with that. But
it's like if you look at our last 5 strikers, so you've got him, Lukaku, Ibrahimovic, Cavani. The other guy, right, and Ronaldo, right?
Yeah.
They have all been the age of 30 and plus.
Yeah.
That is what's been wrong with us for the last 10 years. We have just bought because we needed to. We chucked money at a situation, try and plug a gap, but we've not tried to hone in with our talent. Yeah, we had Mason Greenwood that was meant to be the next Van Persie, but he's got extracurricular habits that we can't condone. And so
less said about that, the better, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
That was the thing. That was our next generation. But we've been plugging them in. But Van and Ten Hag now has decided. Look, he's changed a lot of our structures. For example, he's got rid of high wages. Our wages are now going to be capped at 200,000 a week. So players like Ronaldo.
Wait, isn't Casemiro making like 300k?
It is, but it's going to be something. He's making 350, but it's on moving forward, right? So it's going to be on the renovation of the renewal of the next contract, right? So with Rashford right now, De Gea right now, we're not offering more than 200,000. If they're not willing to take it, then they got to go. And I like that stance about Ten Hag because this is about football. This isn't about making your money. You're making money through your bonuses, your sponsorships, all of that, and 200k a week. Are you crazy?
It's a lot of money.
That's more than yearly salary. So don't complain. Play your football, enjoy it, but be grounded.
Do you think Nidar? I mean, again, I'm not trying to banter you here. Well, I kind of am a little bit, but listen, let's let's put respect on Arsenal as well for a minute, because all the things you're describing are all the things that Mikel Arteta has come in and done at Arsenal. Got rid of the deadwood, got rid of the players, the sort of prima donnas that are on the high money, and sort of started from scratch, and almost like sort of breaking that previous structure and sort of saying, right, what I want a young, hungry group of players that are going to take us to that next level. It sounds as if that's a kind of the model that you guys are sort of trying to achieve.
It's the blueprint, isn't it? It's the Arsenal blueprint.
No, so let's be honest, we never follow an Arsenal blueprint.
You are following.
You're following Pep's blueprint and you're following Fergie's blueprint. But that being said,
without money that Pep has got to spend. Remember,
so look, Wenger didn't have money. Wenger used to smash it. And as a United fan, I hate saying that, but Wenger consistently came forward.
Are you not putting any respect on Mikel Arteta's name, though, Nida?
Oh, so even me, if the special one like Mourinho can give you respect,
there's a clip, isn't it? Yeah.
Where when you guys were getting hammered, and he said it, and no one would believe it. We're all looking at him like he's crazy and stuff like that. But yeah,
you guys probably sacked him for saying that.
Well, maybe probably yeah. The reality is, look, Arsenal have turned the tide. But my problem is I have, in the last 20 years, I've also seen Arsenal kind of do this up until this point of the season, where sometimes you'll see end of January and you're still there, you're still first.
I think that's where you've got your rose-tinted glasses on. A lot of fans are doing this. I don't begrudge you this for Nidar, but I think what you've got to understand, and many fans, many rival fans got to understand, this is a different animal. This is not the same Arsenal as even last season. I mean, we're surprised, Nidar. We are shocked. We're sitting there watching, and we're almost kind of feeling a lot about what you're saying. But it's like what you said in the prep before we started. Look, you know, this is same old Arsenal. Really, I'm just waiting. At the end of the day,
I'll give you credit. It isn't the same old Arsenal, and the difference is Arteta, and the difference is you have got rid of your prima donnas. But my issue with, say, Arsenal or say why City aren't winning Champions League is the lack of experience in either serial winners or experience. Right? So if you look at your team, look at it all the way through, right? None of your team has it. I don't think you've got any players that have won the league, or apart from Arsenal's old left back,
Zinchenko and Jesus.
Zinchenko, Gabi Jesus, both won. Well, Partey's got a Spanish league title as well.
Partey's won a Spanish league.
No one counts Spanish league, man.
No one cared. I mean, a minute ago he was saying nobody's won a league, and then a minute ago, as soon as you name it, this is United supporters through and through. You see, they can't give us. I mean, Nadar, you've hated Arsenal. Let's put it right. You've hated Arsenal since you've been in your nappies. Right?
I fully hate them. I think Google took me to the Arsenal game once, and I was upset.
I remember that. Yeah, he took you instead of me.
I was like, crap, man. But listen, no, reality is okay.
Yeah.
Some of them have won one or two leagues, right? But you haven't got the consistency. So, like, for example, in this latter stages, right, we're in the season where you're, apart from the one cup you're out of, right? So it's not quadruple this year. It ain't triple, let's be honest, either. But your number of games is going to be probably 50 or 45 games for the season.
You're going to have a lot of games, yeah.
So do you have the squad depth if, say, Saka gets injured, which is your brightest star, or Odegaard, right, for some reason gets 2 left feet? Do you have the same depth as, say, City do to last those?
Let me answer that.
Hazza, before you do.
Go on.
Odegaard is left-footed, yeah. So if
this is what I'm trying to say about these guys. They're just, you know what I mean? And like, arguably one of the best players in the league at the moment. You know, even with his 2 left feet. Right. Listen.
Go on,
Look. I think you know ball well, and you have been supporting Man United through the title-winning years, and you know that any team that suffers 3 significant injuries. Look at what happened to Liverpool a couple of seasons ago. Van Dijk went down, and the whole thing fell down. You know, that could affect any that could affect any team, right? And you're right. You're absolutely right. We're looking at sort of Man City against Tottenham the other day. They went 2-0 down. They had De Bruyne, Foden, all these guys on the bench. Nobody is going to be able to match their squad depth this season. But we are in the January window, and as we speak, we are signing players. Trossard, we've just signed. That I believe in. If you've watched enough of him, you'll think that he can probably fill in and do a job.
I'll be honest, I'd have never signed that guy. The guy's a snake.
Okay, right.
No, let's be honest about it. And this is something you'll realize. This is what I hate about players. Look, quality-wise, he's quality. He does his thing at Brighton.
Yeah.
But as soon as he wanted to make a transfer move or whatever, he got up, went back to Belgium on the Eurotunnel or whatever, right, and left his team. Now, it's the same as with you guys. If he ever wants to twist your arm and dip and go to a bigger club, right? So say he wants to go to Newcastle or a bigger club or something like that, he'll twist your arm one day.
I agree with that. But where Arsenal right now, where Arteta is, you would say, okay, off you go.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's about the manager handling that. You see, and look, it's looked like what you said with Ronaldo yourself, Nida, and what happened with Aubameyang. Aubameyang, if you watch the Amazon documentary, he was actually given multiple chances, but when he broke that sort of third strike, almost, it was like, okay, he's got to go, and that's where I think the ruthlessness of both of our managers have shown that we need to have that streak of where. But I would still disagree with you because
hasn't he?
Say again.
He has brought his player in.
Players, he's actually brought this player in. So I'm like,
yeah, but he also gave Aubameyang the big contract. But lads, let's tie this all up, right? We know.
And let me just not forget as well. Guendouzi as well was another one, right? That he
you gotta get the word in.
I have to get it in. I have to get it in. Is that I think that's what our squad is based on. If there's any trouble, they would have either checked it out. And look, like I say with Guendouzi, we got rid of him because his attitude wasn't right. So anyway, you want to move on?
No, anyway, yeah. So thanks for that. I'm going to move on because the main point of talking this, we can banter each other about Arsenal, Manchester United for a day and not get bored of it. But let's get to the important part, which is the game that's coming tomorrow.
Oh.
Okay, 4:30 kickoff at home to Arsenal. The only team that's beaten Arsenal this season is Manchester United.
Yes,
because of, we can say, naivety from
I haven't seen Nida smile like that in years.
Right. So it's a very important game. But Hazza, before I go to Nida, how do you think Arteta is going to set up? Is he going to carry the same naivety that he had away at Old Trafford, or is he going to change it up?
Yeah, look, I think one thing about Arteta, he hasn't been mistake-free all season, and I think there was a massive mistake that he made bringing those. We were actually still controlling the game even whilst Man United were winning at Old Trafford, but bringing those three substitutes on, including Vieira and really upsetting the flow really kind of cost us that game. It was almost like a sucker punch. And at Old Trafford, when you go 3-1 down, it's they control the game and they see it out. I think he would have learned from those mistakes, if I'm honest with you. And I think I'd be really interested in a second to get Nidar's views, but I think it's really the question is how are Man United going to set up? And I think it's really obvious to see that what they're going to do is they're going to do what they did at Manchester City. When they played Manchester City last weekend, I think they're going to be setting up quite narrow, and they're going to be sitting behind the ball and ready, because it's for them. They'll say it's worked. Now I think that will really play into our favour. I think we're going to be having a lot of the ball, right? And it's amazing actually to talk about this, is because it's almost like, are we talking about an Arsenal versus Manchester United game where Manchester United are going to be sitting back? Well, that's in reality what's going to happen. But as I was speaking to your brother the other day, Nida, I was speaking to Adar, and he said, look, we're not the finished article yet, and that's why we had to set up how we did at Man City. And some days it's going to work, and some days it won't work. I don't think that Manchester United are as superior as Newcastle with that low block. I think there's a few mistakes in that back line, although they have performed well in the last 10 games. I think that we will have the majority of the ball, and we'll have enough of the ball to be able to make chances and score an early goal against them, which will help make them have to come out. And then I think we'll I'm not saying that it will be a Tottenham, I don't think we'll play them off the park like we did with Tottenham. But I do think that they will have chances. They will hit us on the break because we play a very high line. But I think the fact that they aren't coming to play, for me, I can only say it's going to be a victory for us.
Ooh, you got a response to that?
Yeah, take your medication. No, okay, so let's be honest. First game of the season against yourselves. Yeah, we shouldn't have won that game. That's the reality of it. You guys were over us. Tactical mistakes by yourselves meant that you didn't have the same flow towards the end of the last third of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we took advantage of that. It's always hard coming on as a sub and trying to get into the game when you make 3 big changes, and especially at the pace that game was going, you can't get your right foot in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about tomorrow's game. In reality, we probably are going to line up, as you said, like we did against City. And that's because it's working for us at the moment, right? We're doing better if we're doing a counter-attack against a lot of the teams.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, playing against the top 6, we've got 7 out of 8 wins, right? Arsenal was the only game where we'd have been like, yeah, we definitely should have lost that one. But I think to play yourselves, we need to attack your defense. I actually think your defense has a lot of fragility to it. I don't think it's as strong as people think, especially with pace. But I think it depends on what players we've got available tomorrow, right? So I think Martial might be injured, so one paceman's gone there. If we've got Rashford, we've got Garnacho. Okay, your wing backs may have trouble if we play with Rashford up front, Garnacho to the left, and if Sancho comes and plays more on the right, and if we put on pace against your defense and we're putting through balls or long balls over, right, you're gonna struggle to get into the game initially. But I'm not sure whether we have the players to do that tomorrow. And especially with Sancho not playing for months, and
we've done 22 minutes and we haven't even mentioned the name of C.
Casemiro.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't there last time, as Eric Ten Hag says.
I was fuming the other day.
Would you not argue, though, Nida, that a lot of the reasons why you're playing so well at the moment is since the introduction of Casemiro?
Of course. Let's be
You're not worried that he's not going to be there?
Listen, we beat you without him. Fred and McTominay did it.
I love this. I love this.
But the reality is, if Fred can do what he did to De Bruyne the other day, right, then Odegaard may as well stay at home because Fred will just have him.
No, I'm not having that.
Listen,
I think that De Bruyne is having...
He's still there.
But he's not having a great season, is he, De Bruyne? This season, he's not having a great season.
Listen, he's been off for 3 games. When he's pinpointing balls from the 50-yard line and Haaland's jumping off trees, to hit into the top corner, right? Everyone's like, that's crazy at the start of the season. They've been off.
But you can't deny. I mean, if you've been watching any of Arsenal, which I know you do because you love us so much, right? It's Odegaard, and especially that's the other factor. Zed, we haven't mentioned is the fact that we're at home. We're at home, and we've dropped 2 points at home all season.
Yeah,
and they were to Newcastle in a draw.
Odegaard is having the season of his career.
But I'll be honest, I said this.
And you're talking about McFred.
Listen, I'm a shout out an Arsenal fan. His name's Jerome, right? This lad from Birmingham. Always give me the yap about
Ask
Arsenal.
Him to subscribe and share. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I told him we went to his house after you lose the season. But what I said to him was, like I said to you, come end of December, January time, you guys are going to drop. I don't think you'll last the season. Newcastle, mark my words, was your first game of where we're going to start to see points getting dropped. Listen, how far off are you from City? 8 points?
At this moment in time, 8 points, yeah.
You got 2 games against City. If City show up like yesterday's second half, those 6 points are gone. You guys have the league to lose. That's the honest truth. City should win the league. And United, we're just happy to be in the conversation at the moment. Like at the start of the season, if you said to me,
should be happy to be in the conversation for top 4, Nidar, let alone the conversation for anything else. You know?
That's the point. If you said to me at the start of the season, top 4,
yeah, you take it.
Yeah, I'd have taken it. So the conversation that we're a point away from City right now.
We're almost. I think it's. I mean, like, let's respect each other for 30 seconds at least. We're both ahead of. We're both ahead of, like, kind of. I know people will say, "Oh, Arteta's had 3 years," but like from where we shouldn't be in a title race this season, and you shouldn't be going for top 4. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. But we both are. We're both in the mix, you know. And
look at the other teams. City is the only one that's always performing. Let's be honest. Recently, they haven't, and this league has actually become really competitive. Like, look at Newcastle out of the blue. Tottenham still on 0 trophies. Chelsea are breaking transfer records every transfer
every day.
But the thing is, there's no consistency in some of these bigger teams. But some of these smaller teams like Brighton and Brentford are smashing it this season. Exactly. You can't go to a game in the league now and be like, we're going to win this game.
Well, everybody's saying the same about the. You see, this is the other thing about our game tomorrow. All of everybody would have played before us. Well, or certainly in the top half of the table, those games that affect us. And if everybody's saying, "Oh, well, Man City is going to be beating Wolves," this is what you're absolutely right, spot on. It's not a given, is it? That could be 1-1 draw. You know, that could be. You know, it could be anything.
Crystal Palace. I genuinely didn't think we'd have drawn to Crystal Palace, especially when their ranking
and they're really poor. And just to touch on your point earlier about Tottenham being smashed by City.
Before you get there, can I just say, if Zaha, you're ever watching this, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, that scoop tackle,
wicked tackle.
Against you.
And I'll tell you, actually, you know what? It's a good point you've raised there, because I think he'll play against us tomorrow, and I think he'll really do well, to be honest with you, because he has got something to prove. But I was just going to say about sort of Man City, Tottenham are that poor at the moment, right? They're defensively so. I mean, I can't believe they are where they are in the table. I don't think that's a benchmark to go on, to be honest with you. I think City will continue. I think we'll drop points as well. I think, it's a given. Everybody's going to drop points. But I think City will drop more points that they're expected to get than we will. And I think that's why we will win the league.
Listen, just from a serial Premier League club, right? When we're always at number 1, right? It's a lot scarier being at number 1 than 2. Yeah. Because number 1, you have everything to lose. That one little slip up, whatever. And this is where experience comes into it, right? Or pressure, right? One moment, for example, Steven Gerrard against Chelsea, that little slip up, Denver Ball went and won the league, right? It's that moment. And this is why I refer back to your first game against us. The reason, apart from tactical mistakes, I think the reason you lost it against us was the lack of experience of going all the way through. So you know sometimes how to kill a game off. And this is what I mean by your end of your season, where sometimes you've been first and second towards this part of the season, the last 20 years. You've trailed off because you've not had that killer instinct right at the end. And that's what I'm kind of questioning with your squad depth.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. What I want to ask him,
but as of before, you say that. I'm going to say this, right? Squad depth, all of that is good, and the experience is good. We get this is the youngest team in the league, right? It's probably a bit too early for them to be in this position that they're in, as I said.
I'm not worried about age.
But the thing is, the experience comes from trying to do it. If these guys win the league or not win the league, regardless, they're going to take away some valuable lessons from it. And in the next 3 to 4 years, they will be in the conversation for the league every year because of the way it's gone.
Yeah,
that's the experience you're talking about, isn't it? If that's the case, then that's it.
I've got a question, Nida, that's going to corner him, Zed, don't worry, right? I've got a question, right? Because obviously we've got to talk about emotion here now before we wrap up, right? If it's not Manchester United, Nida, who do you want to win the league?
Oh, City, not Arsenal.
Really? OMG.
Do you know why? And I'll explain this, right? City may be rivals, derby, whatever.
Just a bit.
But that only really matters when it's the derby games. Winning the league, we've had a lot better fights with you lot and a lot better rivalry with you lot for a lot longer. City were never in that conversation. I've only come into it. Clubs like City, PSG, Chelsea, whatever, a lot of their foundation has been money chucked in.
Of course
And
it is, yeah.
City has built up, but I don't know, it just seems like a little cheap knockoff compared to the history of
so let me give you the equivalent. That's like us saying our Tottenham, our fiercest rivals, our North London rivals, right? Letting them have more league titles than us, letting them have better history than us. Surely, I mean, you'd be preferring Arsenal to win just to stop City.
No, but who have you had more fights with to win it? You've had more fights with.
Of course, but that's
I want Chelsea to win it because we've had more fights with Chelsea.
Yeah,
we've had fights with Arsenal and Chelsea, so I absolutely hate, and Liverpool. And then
but isn't it about honours and numbers though, Nida? Isn't it about like? I mean, it's a bit like when we were going for the FA Cup. We wanted to make sure that the teams, because we obviously we hold the most FA Cups. We wouldn't want Chelsea winning a few more FA Cups. You know what I mean? Look, did you see how he's shaking his head there? I mean, you'd love an FA Cup at the moment. You would. You guys are basking in glory for a bloody Littlewoods Cup. I mean, what, a Carabao Cup?
We get a Carabao Cup this year, yeah. At least it was one down on it, right? But you guys already won out, so chill out. But that's the reality. Like, we've fought with you, like that. Growing up, like
I get that, but it still doesn't make sense.
Mate,
you want your local rivals to win the league over Arsenal? I mean, I've just never heard anything like it.
I get Nadal's point.
When we play football, right, in our leagues, we have a bigger rivalry with East than we do with, say, Leicester. Why? Because we've competed with East.
I hear that, but still, you've got no local shame. You've got no local shame. You're going to be walking out in Manchester and everyone's blue.
Well, I think they're already used to it, Hazza. That's happening every year anyway.
That's probably what it is. They've been so abused by it that it's like just business as usual. Come on, you need to start backing the Gooners a little bit, man. Come on, Nida.
City. One of my fans. One of my friends is a City fan, right? And he's buzzing about you guys for some reason. And I'm like, bro, like City should win the league, like. And he's so gassed that it's gonna be a change that Arsenal have come in and they're gonna. I'm like, bro, you guys are City, yeah. Your history's just started. Like, don't get gassed that you won it for several years. Arsenal have a history. So I'm not excited about Arsenal coming to try and win the league.
Okay. All right.
It's detriment to the league if Arsenal win.
I hear that. I hear it.
All right, lads. Before we wrap up, then, quick fire question, and I want a simple answer. Okay, Nida, you go first. Score tomorrow.
Oh, damn! Score tomorrow. If we got an attacking team, 2-0 United.
Don't come with all this. If we go this, if we go that. He just wants to score, mate. That's all he wants.
All right, score. Hazza, go on. What do you think?
Rashi and De Gea.
So you said you're not us not scoring.
No.
Yeah, 2-0 Rashford and De Gea.
Okay, so all right. Oh, gosh, I nearly choked on my coffee then. So we're at home and we're not going to score, right? Well, Zed, as you know, we're generous at the Emirates. We like to give a goal, don't we? We've generally leaked at least one goal in nearly every game this season. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go 2-1.
2-1 to Arsenal.
And as Nidar was brave enough to mention his goal scorers, right? I'm gonna say Saka and Odegaard with the goals. Yeah, right. Saka loves a goal against United.
I'm telling you, Fred is gonna put Odegaard back on the bench tomorrow.
Big words, yeah, big words.
I mean, you're lucky. You're lucky. You're lucky. We only did 30 minutes today, Nida. Otherwise, we would have done a full-on analysis on Muckfred.
Listen, tomorrow, just keep your WhatsApp on. Yeah, don't say your Wi-Fi is dropped.
We don't hide, Nida. Don't worry. We don't hide. Listen, if you want to come on after, you come on after. No problem.
Yeah. Let's see how the game goes.
He's already running. Well,
it looks like he's going to be on disappearing messages on WhatsApp.
I'm busy patients to reply to.
All right. This has been extremely fun. Honestly, one of the best specials we've had, right? A lot of the banter is taken back to what I said earlier, the Manchester United Arsenal rivalry. Regardless of where we are in the table, regardless of what it is, it will always be lively. And the fans will always hate each other. That's just how it is. But thank you very much, Nida, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And we'll catch you all in the next one. Keep us posted. We may do another one after, if Nida says yes to it. If they lose, he probably.
If we can find Nida, we'll do another pod, guys. If you can find him after the game.
Right. Thanks everyone for listening. Subscribe, like, and comment.